Well, here we are, day number 3.
Yes.
Portland to Hood River.
Hood River, that's
Right?
right. That's right.
It was a pretty long day. It was 70 some miles or more.
It was a longer day.
I would say the first 15 miles was flat because it was along the Columbia River.
Went right past the airport.
Right past the airport. Saw some military jets take off. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
The views there of just, we saw, was it Mount Hood off in the distance?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Mount Hood was off in the distance and saw that. It was kind of hazy, or not real hazy, but wasn't real clear anyway.
Right.
But you could see it, kind of a shadow of it out there.
Right.
It was pretty cool. It's a beautiful day to be riding. Going on the Columbia River Highway. Beautiful, beautiful space. But then we hit a hill.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I knew we were going to do some climbing,
Yes.
but this one took me by surprise. It was long and it was steep,
Yes, it was.
and we were just going up and up and up.
Yeah. We saw worse later, but it was the first real hard
It
hill.
was the first really hard hill.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were kind of huffing and puffing
Yes, we were. Yes, we were.
and came by a car that was doing some extracurricular activities, that we say.
Exactly the words I was looking for. But I'm pedaling. I'm just focused on getting to the top of that hill. Toughest hill we've climbed so far.
Good job, man.
Whew.
That was a hard one.
Yes, it was.
There's a little bit more to go, and I think it's downhill after that. Whoa, look at that.
So we pedaled to the top of this ridge,
Right.
and then the overlook,
It was
the
beautiful.
first overlook.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
Unbelievable view, Columbia River Gorge.
Incredible.
Just amazing, amazing views. And from there, we could actually see over to that stone house,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and which was like a horseshoe curve, and this really a tourist stop that they created when they built this road.
Yeah.
So we were on the Columbia River Gorge Highway, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
I'll put it in the description below so you know where it is. But it's Route 30 that follows Columbia River.
Right.
It was the original road before the interstate was built,
Right.
and so it curves through up and down the hills and over, and just the scenic views. One of my favorite places in the world, the Columbia River Gorge. And we rode down the hill to that stone house and got to meet some people there. And then from there, it was switchbacks down.
That was fun.
Fast,
Uh-huh.
and just, again, forest, beautiful forest. But yeah, that day, it was a long ride. And so we came by Multnomah Falls,
That's right.
had lunch there, met a guy from Maryland.
Exactly. From Frederick, right?
From here in Thurmont,
Oh,
just
in
down the
Thurmont.
road. Yes,
Oh,
he's a well-known, renowned. What's the doctor that works on animals?
Veterinarian?
Veterinarian, that one.
Veterinarian.
He's a renowned veterinarian.
He was there with his daughter.
He was there with his daughter, and so we got to talk to him because we had our bikes there, and he was like, "What are you guys doing?" And so ended up, here he's my neighbor pretty much.
Right.
And so that was pretty cool. So from there, had an expensive lunch.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's the tourist stop. But
Exactly.
anyway, my first time to see Multnomah Falls, I think you had been there before.
I had been there with some guys from work.
Yeah. And so, but then we rode on down, and a couple days before, back in Hammond, we were out at the jetty
Yes.
one day, and we met this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I work at the fish hatchery
That's
there
right.
on the Columbia River,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're coming through there, stop in and see me.
Right.
But he also gave us some words of advice because we had planned on going across the river at the Bridge of the Gods or something
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right. That's right.
And getting on Route 14 on the Washington side of the river, and just following that because it looked a little flatter. But he said, no, don't do that because, remember what he said?
Yeah, he said that. He said stay on the Oregon side because there's a lot of bike paths.
Bike paths.
That you can take, and it's a lot less congested than. And over there also they had tunnels that
There was no shoulder.
Right,
in
no
the
shoulder,
tunnels.
and then there's no lights, so cars
Yeah.
are coming and you're like driving at nighttime. So
Yeah.
we were like, nah, we're gonna
Yeah.
go. Oregon side.
So it was great advice. So anyway, we ended up stopping in at the fish hatchery and saw the world's largest sturgeon.
That's right,
What was his name? Herman the sturgeon.
Herman the sturgeon.
10 feet long.
Yeah, he was big.
He was a monster. But anyway, we met up with Hugh, and he gave us a tour. And by that time, we were pretty tired.
We're 51 miles in. Got how many to go? 19? 19 to go. The heat is pretty hot. And trying to stay hydrated. Stopped to get some snacks. And did a lot of sightseeing today, so slowed us down. Some great spots. Multnomah Falls, the fish hatchery.
And we still had a ways to go
Right.
to get to Hood River.
That's right.
And we ended up on the bike paths, beautiful bike paths along the Columbia River Gorge, just
Yes.
amazing. But then the bike trail went into the wild.
Yeah.
And we looked at the map and we were like, hell no.
It was like, let's go way over here.
Yeah, it was like, it was no nice paved bike trail anymore. It was like a dirt path.
Right.
Well, we're, road bike packing,
Yes, preferably.
not off-road bike packing. So
Correct.
we ended up riding on the interstate.
That's right.
And in Oregon, you can do that. In several states in the West, you can do that. So, and it's actually safer than 2-lane highways.
It's nice when you've got 6 foot, 8 foot, like a whole lane
Of berm.
shoulder.
We had
threw me off.
We had this argument.
Not an argument.
Not really argument. It
A
was
discussion.
a discussion
Yeah. I had to
about
change
whether it's
my-
a shoulder or a berm. So in the comments, let us know. Is it a shoulder,
Yes.
the space beside the road, like on the right side of the white line? Is it a shoulder or is it a berm?
Right.
So yeah, so we ended up on the interstate, which was fine. It still had 15 miles to go, I think, on the interstate.
Yeah, but it was much. Nice thing about the interstate too is the hills aren't
Gradual.
steep; they're gradual.
So
Yeah.
we, rode on the interstate, got to our beautiful hotel. The hotel wasn't that great, but the views
The
were
view
amazing.
was great. That was a place that was like almost like it had like the river view out the back.
Yeah,
And that-
yeah,
it's
yeah.
gorgeous.
You opened the back sliding glass door, and there was just the river down below. It was just stunning. It was amazing. And so that was day 3.
Yes, it was.
And then day 4, we left Hood River, had a big
Yeah.
climb. We got on the bike trail.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Was this was the day we had the bike trail we had to climb on the bike trail.
Yes.
And once we took the dirt road.
Then
too,
we took
in
the
part
dirt
of it.
road. So we started out on the bike trail,
Right,
which
right.
was a nice, hard switchback climb
Really?
to the top.
Yeah.
Beautiful views again.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful view of the whole town of Hood River. I wish we could have spent more time in Hood River. We just didn't
Yeah.
have that much time. But
True. True.
but that ride up to the top, and then the ride on the bike trail on the ridge was just amazing.
It was great. It was great. And
Paved, wide. I mean, wide enough for a car to ride on.
Oh, it was nice.
Yeah.
Real nice. And we saw quite a bit of people on them trails too.
We did, yeah. So
Oregon's working on putting in a real good system.
yeah, they're supposed to have from Portland, I believe, all the way. Where'd they say? All the way down the Columbia River.
Oh wow.
I believe they're working on the bike trail system that goes all the way.
Yeah, we rode past, that's later. We passed a section. There was a lot of construction happening on the
Yeah.
trail too,
Yeah.
as we found out later on.
The scenery this morning is just absolutely stunning. It's just such a beautiful place we live. amazing.
But that one section was gorgeous. And then the ride down, it always seems like we were just glad we were going west to east on a lot of these trails and stuff, because it always seemed like the hills were steeper on the other side.
Yes.
When we had a climb on the other side, the hills always seemed steeper. And that may just been our perspective because we were flying down them.
That's where we're going on. All the way down. All the way down there. The mighty Columbia. Barge we've been following all the way down the river.
So the second half of the day, we actually kind of went inland away from the river.
Yeah.
And through some country roads. I mean, there was just nothing out there but big hills. It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
And it was just through the valleys.
Yeah.
And then we made a left-hand turn.
This is a gravel road.
It was a gravel road.
Our first experience with real gravel.
Yeah.
Loose gravel.
And it was a nice, steep, hard climb. And we had to stop a few times and to get to the top. But then once we were on top of the ridge,
right,
it wasn't bad other than the gravel.
True.
And our bikes weren't really set up for that kind of gravel.
Yeah, if we'd had mountain bikes with fatter tires, we'd have been fine.
We had like 1.5-inch tires.
Right.
And a big shout out to Schwalbe tires.
Good tires.
We splurged and got some Schwalbe tires, 1.5-inch Schwalbe tires.
Yep.
They're like bulletproof, except later we'll tell you what happened to one of them.
Right.
But anyway, they're really great tires. I think we paid $85 a piece for them.
Well worth it.
But I think the prices are higher now. I saw something like $120.
Really?
So, but yeah, if you're gonna go on a long trip on a bike, get yourself some Schwalbe tires. They're amazing. They're puncture resistant. They're not puncture proof, but they're puncture resistant. Mm-hmm. You'll just not suffer from flat tires.
That's right.
Just trust me on that.
That's right.
So, but anyway, we were riding this ridge, and about halfway down the ridge, we came across the sheriff's deputy. So, we're the only ones there. He's the only one there. We stopped and we talked. Told him what we're doing. He was interested in that. And then we said, well, how much further is it to getting off this gravel? He said, oh, it's just a little bit. 6 miles or so?
It felt like more.
It felt like forever.
It was probably 6 miles, but it felt like 10. I mean, we were on this gravel. Yeah.
But then, so we were on top of the ridge on the Columbia River Gorge. The Columbia River Gorge is called a gorge because it's a gorge. It's deep.
Yes.
Okay, so we're way up on the ridge. And if you look at the map, at the elevation, it just does this. Well, this are switchbacks.
Yeah.
Gravel switchbacks.
Right. Loose gravel.
John's used to that kind of stuff because he was a mountain biker. He's just flying down. He was way ahead of me. So I was coming down on the brakes. I was afraid my brakes were going to overheat, so I hit the brakes a little bit, but then I let them run. And when I let them run, my back end came around 90 degrees perpendicular to the road, 180 degrees back the other way, 90 degrees the other way. It was a pucker up moment. I finally got her straightened out and kept me vertical, but it was scary. But from there, then we went to, I think, what was the name of that little campground? Maryhill.
Oh, in Maryhill? Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's just on the other side of the
It was
bridge.
Maryhill Campground, something like that.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Just on the other side of the river.
We had some miscommunications with our support crew, and so they actually were 30 miles down the road, and so we had to wait for them to come back.
Right.
And in the meantime, we ran into, what was her name? Linda? No. I'll put it in the. I'll put it on the screen here. Yeah, but anyway, we were sitting beside the road. And this woman came up and said, "What are you guys doing here?" And we said, "Well, we're just waiting on our support crew with our tents and our RV." And then what did she say? Well, come over to my campsite.
Oh, that's right. That's right. She said, "Come on over. I got beer and food
and we're chips." She said, "Beer and chips." That's right.
She had lots of chips.
She said, "Beer and chips," and we were like. We're in.
That's right.
So we ran over to her campsite, and here she was in her 60s, and she was in town for a gravel race.
Right.
A
Gravel
bike
biking
race. In her 60s. And she does these things, I guess, all over the place. And it was just fascinating talking to her. Ended up, we were all hungry. So she ended up driving us over to a diner across the river for dinner that night. So big shout out. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, thank you very much
for helping us. That was amazing. And then our RV showed up and we ended up pitching our tents that night.
No, actually.
No, that was in Idaho.
That was in Idaho, right.
So
right.
yeah, we ended up, did we stay in the RV?
Yeah, we crashed in the RV that
Crashed
night.
in the RV that night.
I think it was our first night sleeping in the RV.
So that was end of day number 4. And so, yeah. So there we are. So we're off, almost 3/4 of a week done.
That's right.
And then tomorrow would be a hard ride.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that next episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
See ya. We're like, really?
And it was just this car beside the road, and here's some footage of it. It was right beside the road, and all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, his head popped up. We're like, John, was that what I think it was?
To tell you the truth, I was I figured what was going on. I didn't look over, but I'm pedaling. I'm just focused on getting to the top of that hill, and I'm trying not to laugh too hard because I'm trying to breathe. But yeah, I didn't know if you're going to bring that up or not, but that was fun.
Yeah. The things you see beside the road when you're on a bicycle, you're seeing the things slow, right? You're seeing the country slow. And when you're riding by a parked car beside the road with 2 heads in it, doing extracurricular things, it goes by slow.
Probably just talking.
Yeah, they were just talking. They were just talking.